Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care, Santa Clarita Hearing Center, and Traditions Healthcare Hospice. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host
Dr. Jean Dorio.
on your hometown station 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our first guest this morning is calling in, and she is May Ronci of our newest sponsor, Traditions Healthcare Hospice. Good morning, May.
Good morning, Barbara. Good
Good,
morning, Dr.
good,
Dorio. How are you both?
good morning, May.
Fine. I was
We
hoping you would be here in person so I could meet you this morning.
I was hoping so too. I injured myself and wasn't able to get in the car and drive down. So I'm so sorry not to be there. I'm sure we'll be able to have an opportunity to do this again.
Oh, yes. Now,
now, May,
where would you be driving down from?
From Lancaster.
Oh, both of my kids and grandkids live up in Palmdale.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, yes, yes.
oh,
Okay.
May,
Now,
May, you didn't injure yourself voting yesterday, did you?
No, I actually no, I didn't. I did run to the polls though 2 days ago, but no, I did not do it yesterday.
Oh,
I
like
know,
we,
but
we
I
seem
think
to all be tripping over each other, but it's an exciting election for everybody. It's like watching the Dodgers win the World Series. So we're kind of reenacting a lot of that. So
yeah.
unfortunately, we haven't crossed the finish line yet. So when we do, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more.
that's true.
Yes.
So,
Well, what?
so May, tell us a little bit about Traditions Health Care.
So Traditions Health is it's a large hospice agency. Our corporate office is actually stationed out of College Station, Texas. We have 3 branches located in California. We have a Glendale office. We have my office here is the Lancaster office, and we have a Bakersfield office as well. We service my particular branch services the Antelope Valley all the way down to Santa Clarita and up to Mojave. And of course, I love, Barbara, your opening statement. Our focus is also on quality of life, and that's so much of what we do with hospice care.
Right, right.
Good.
Yes.
So it's important that our listeners know about hospice care, though, because they hear, we're in a pandemic, and the important part, May, of understanding where you want your quality of life to be and where you want your life to go is knowing when it's time to make decisions and have a discussion about end of life care. How do we do that with our patients?
That's such a great point to make, especially now with COVID. I think the most important thing is to encourage your listeners and our communities to have that conversation before they need to make those decisions. I think a lot of times we see, especially in the hospital setting, the conversation hasn't been had, decisions haven't been made, and now we're in that final hour and having to have a family have to make those difficult decisions without having a knowledge of what the patient's wishes were. So I think it's really important to start that conversation ahead of time with your families. We do have Traditions Health has a radio show as well. We air on Tuesdays at 12, and one of our topics was about advanced healthcare planning, and that'll be that show is going to be airing today actually. And the important thing is to have that conversation. I was mentioning on the radio show that I gave to my parents a couple of years ago advanced directives for Christmas as gifts. Just because I wanted them to realize it was not just a gift for them, but it was a gift for me, to be able to know what their wishes were. Because I think you both probably agree with this, autonomy is so important for all of us. None of us want to ever give up that independence, the independent thought process, or the ability to make those decisions for ourselves. So I think if we can encourage your listeners to think about what their wishes are for their future. I know a lot of us don't like to think about those what ifs, but unfortunately, like taxes, we all have to come across that bridge one day. And death and dying is one of those inevitable things that's going to happen to all of us. And if we're prepared before that time comes, it makes it so much easier and kinder for our families.
Did you read the other
Absolutely. And with so many individuals and healthcare being the way it is, we can individuals, our patients, survive longer. And sometimes we can keep, at certain points, we can keep them going artificially and sometimes we can get them back to normal and sometimes we cannot. But once we get to that point, May, it's really difficult for us to then ask the question, what do you want us to do next? And that's why it's so important for what you said, that discussion comes early, right now, before you're in that situation.
That's very true.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happened with my husband and I. He was incapacitated, and I knew that I couldn't physically take care of him because he was in his chair in the living room. He couldn't get to the bed to go to sleep because he couldn't get up and down. So we had to keep him in the easy chair that the feet come up and you can semi-lie in it. And I realized that I couldn't do it myself. And fortunately, many years ago, I got long-term care insurance, much against Russ's wishes. But I'm so glad I did, because I was able to have someone come in first overnight so that I could sleep, and then 24/7. And it was one of the best things I ever did. And he was able to stay at home where he wanted to be because he did not want to go into any kind of board and care, nursing home, anything like that. And we were able to keep him at home until, as Dr. Dorio knows, he got pneumonia and had to go into the hospital. And we were finally able to have palliative care come in there. And he passed away in the hospital. But I was so thankful that I was able to make sure that he was well taken care of and that his wishes were adhered to. It makes a big difference. It really does.
It really does, and I think Dr. Dorio made a good point too. We there's so much, medicine has made so many amazing advances. There's so many things we can do to help patients live a meaningful life, to give them, to extend their life. And I think the decision needs to come ahead of time where is quantity more important than quality? And for some patients that we do keep on life support, it's are we taking some of that away from them? And I think it's a very personal decision. We all have a different definition of what quality of life means to us. And I think that's why I really like to, whether I'm doing palliative care at the hospital or doing hospice here at Traditions Health, I think it's really important to allow patients to maintain their autonomy and ask those questions. What does quality of life mean to you? Because it means something different to all of us. I lost my first husband when he was 43 years old to a motorcycle accident. But unfortunately, prior to his death, he was in the hospital for 8 days. And my son was 17 at the time, we had to make a very difficult decision about what does quality of life mean to Dad. And it for him at that point would have meant having a tracheostomy tube, probably not having very much brain function, and living his life out in a facility. And that we agreed upon was not a decision that he would have ever made for himself, and that wasn't the quality that he was willing to live with. So we chose quality over quantity. And so I think that's a really important discussion to have with our families, especially with our physicians, because they know what our disease process is and what that outcome might look like for us. So I always encourage my patients, my family, even our listeners on our radio show, please always consult your doctor and make sure that you have a good idea of what your disease process looks like and what the expectancy of that disease process is.
So it's important that our listeners know that they are the final say in what can happen toward end of life. But it's so important, like you said, May, it's so important that we give the benefit to the caregivers, the people around you, to open up decisions that are made prior to when those decisions have to be made. So what you did, giving power of attorney and end of life directions to your parents, was so important, because that means that you care about them, but they're caring about you as well.
Absolutely. And like I told them, it wasn't just a gift for them. It was more of a selfish gift for myself. Shortly thereafter, my dad had his abdominal aortic dissected. He had an aneurysm that dissected and was not doing very well in the hospital, and we thought we were going to lose him. But it was so relieving for my sisters and I to know exactly what Dad wanted, so we could honor his wishes. I think for us it was more of a gift for us than it was for them. And I think that the important thing too with advance directives, then if any of our listeners have advance directives, to not just do them and file them away in a safe place. It's really important, and that's something I told my parents. You don't get to just take this and fill it out and put it away somewhere. You have to share it with us, because I think that's a big piece of advanced healthcare planning and advanced care planning that doesn't get shared. And I think that's part of what we see in the hospitals. Well, nobody knows. Well, we know Mom filled that form out, but we have no idea where it is. So it's really important to have that conversation with your family as well.
It
So
is, and
let's
that kind of thing needs to be included in a trust or a will of some kind also.
Yeah, well, sometimes the wills don't always have a medical component to them. So I always encourage people, if you're going to do a will, to make sure it has a medical piece to it, because not all of them do. Some of them just address estates and financial planning. So if it's not going to, an advanced healthcare directive can, once it's notarized or witnessed, can be just as it's just as important, and it is a legal document once it's notarized or witnessed. So I agree with you. If you're going to do a will, make sure that it's got all the components of it, including your healthcare directive in it. If not, you can always supplement it with an advanced healthcare directive, or doing a physician's order for life-sustaining treatment with your physician or nurse practitioner.
Yeah, we had ours done along when we had our trust made out. We had the advanced care directive included in that. It was a separate piece of paper or form, but
Right.
it was
Yeah,
still
that's
included
great,
in
Barbara.
all of those papers, and mine is included in the trust that I have now. So, and that is very, very, very important to have. It really
Yes.
is.
So, May, there are some of our listeners who are listening to us talk about advanced directives, power of attorney, but they're saying, "Hey, I'm 40, I'm 50 years old. I don't need to talk about this now." Some people even say I'm 70 or 80 and say I don't need to talk about this now. But you never know when these decisions are going to have to be made, and it's important you keep in mind that the law is the law sometimes, and sometimes, dependent on the situation, decisions can be taken out of the hands of even the family.
Right.
And that's why we have to be fully prepared with the legal paperwork beforehand and discuss specific issues. So I usually, with my patients, I will tell them, if I think they're having some heart problems or possible strokes, or even might be going on dialysis. I mean, these are situations where they can escalate and become worse. And of course, I want for them to tell me that they want certain things done, and they want certain things done by the family. So going back to having this discussion, I think it's really important at any age to talk about it.
I agree, and I always say if you're over 18, you should have an advance directive for so many different reasons. Not only does it put your wishes in writing, but it also names people that you trust to carry out those wishes for you. So I think I mentioned in one of my earlier broadcasts on our show that my husband for the longest time was not my decision maker, and I took that power away from him intentionally because I knew that he wouldn't be able to carry out the wishes that I had requested of him. I'm 50 years old. I've chosen for myself to be a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate. I have MS, and I have certain, that's just those are my wishes. That's what I've determined for myself. But I didn't trust that he'd be able to do that for me because he's too emotionally charged and, he doesn't want to let go. Only recently we've been having a more detailed discussion. I think he's starting to understand why I've chosen that. And I've just redone my advance directive to reflect him as my decision maker. I had originally chosen my sister. So I think it's important at any age to have it, not just for your wishes, even if you're full code and you want everything done for yourself. It's important to name people that you trust for yourself. Unfortunately, death doesn't discriminate, and I saw that with losing my first husband. He was 43 years old, and all the time I see young patients die. Here on hospice, we recently had a couple of very young people die, leaving very small children behind. So unfortunately, things have changed for us. We're seeing a lot more cancer now, and with COVID, we've seen a lot more liver cirrhosis. So I think it's really important for people to be prepared. And again, at any age, if you have a family, if you have anything that you feel precious to you that you are leaving behind, you should have an advance directive.
I think
absolutely, and being prepared is so important. Practicing preventive medicine is so important for me, but for my patients, I want them to be prepared. How do our listeners get a hold of you and Traditions?
To get a hold of me, my name is May Ronci. I'm the nurse practitioner and the executive director of the Lancaster branch. My phone number here is 661-951-1146. And if you want to look us up on the web, it is traditionshealth.com. And we are, again, a hospice agency here in California, but do home health in 12 other states. We have home health and hospice pretty spread out over the United States. So it's a really great organization. If any of your listeners ever have any questions or need guidance or just have concerns or comments, I'm always open to taking anybody's calls if they want to give us a call. Again, it's 661-951-1146.
Thank you so much, May, for joining us today. And hopefully, sometime in the future, I'll get to meet you, and you'll be able to come into the...
I hope so. I hope so. I would love to be on your show again, and maybe we could have talk about advanced care planning or Pulse next time. Anything you guys want to talk about, I'm more than willing and very excited to be a part of your show today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, May.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Barbara
Thank you both.
Cochran.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
Experience luxury senior living at Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's brand new community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, residents will enjoy 5-star amenities, including state-of-the-art movie theaters, spacious custom-built apartment homes, and sweeping views of the valley, all close to shopping, restaurants, and medical centers. Enjoy resort-style living, professional concierge services, a luxurious salon and day spa, and world-class dining. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll embrace retirement in style. For details, visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help.
They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com. Located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're now speaking with Bradley Gross and, well, let's see, Santa Clarita Grocery.
That's
Bradley
right.
Gross, the head honcho over there. And his sidekick?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The other head honcho.
The other head honcho.
We have 12 head honchos. That makes the whole thing roll.
Is Dan Ziegler, who is the volunteer director of supply.
Yes.
And I have been up there, and that place is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's a challenging operation. We have to do a lot to get things going, and keeping the food supply coming in is a daunting task, you know.
Oh,
and,
yes.
and so we're constantly looking for opportunities within the community, looking for opportunities outside the community through other organizations to see how we can actually keep that supply chain coming in.
So you're the one who gets the stuff in.
Yeah, I go out and I look for it, source out organizations, reach out to people within communities, look for other organizations that help with food distribution as well, and see how we might be able to benefit from that. And then I bring that stuff into our facility.
And then you have to do what Bradley says to do.
Exactly, exactly.
And oftentimes I do what Dan says to do. So it's a good working relationship.
Yeah, it's definitely a team.
So Dan, let me ask you a question, though. I mean, revving up supply chains are not easy, especially in this day and age. How do you do that? What experience or background is it military or running a baseball team, or what is it that you have done in life that has allowed you to organize so well what Bradley has done?
You know, so I have been in the business field for over 20 years, and I've actually ran a $40 million business with an organization called Harris Corporation, and part of that was the overall operations. I handled everything from financing to the sales team to the manufacturing floor to the warehouse and distribution, making sure all that was the oversight of all of that. And I've continued to do that through advisory roles and capacities as well for other organizations, where I help them figure out those different things so that they can actually build out a strong and resilient thing. But I think overall, to answer your question, I'm the jack of all but master of none, I guess.
Well, wait a minute now. What does Bradley do? Does he just tell you, Go do this, go do that, go do the other.
No,
See
they're-
the one waving the big stick?
You know, honestly, I haven't been hit by it yet, but yes, and I think that's just purely a height thing. You know, I'm still under his radar and reach. But no, it's definitely a collaboration. We have many wonderful volunteers at the organization, and there's many volunteers that have served in similar roles like ours, and so it's a collaborative effort. And I build off the collaboration and the team of everybody else and their input, and then we're able to go out and do those things.
I see. So, Bradley, what is your particular role? with
It's really
Santa Clarita Grocery?
it's the high level oversight. You know, everything from marketing to synergy relationships, and really, it's just I have a finger in all aspects of it, and just guide it where we want this to be headed.
Now, how did
Yeah.
you get involved with this? Did you get it started by yourself and with others?
It was with our leadership team. We have 12 people that committed to launching this thing, and they had worked in food banks previously. And without that commitment, we could have never launched.
So they
So-
knew exactly what needed to be done if they had worked with food banks then.
That's correct. And I had worked with a food bank for 1 year prior to that, and I just thought, let's launch, let's get it rolling. So, in fact, this today is our 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Imagine
Congratulations.
that. Thank you.
And you're here
Yeah.
on KHTS.
Yes.
Woohoo!
So
I
we can blow out 2 candles this morning.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That is
Yeah.
wonderful. And it obviously has been a big success.
Yes, the first year was really challenging across so many levels because we were just getting tooled up, really, and then come January, we understood why it was such a challenging year because we were getting tooled up for something such a time as this. Because when COVID hit, we were ready to rock and roll, and so we went through a lot of growing pains that first year. And then this year, it's just been remarkable how important that first year was in order to really serve our community at the capacity that we are today.
Well, now, how do people get food and goods from you? What do they have to do?
As when you visited, when COVID hit, we turned the organization, which previously you could go in and shop for your groceries, just like the little market, right?
Yes.
And we would even have checkout. We would even have a person that would walk with people, a volunteer, if they needed assistance carrying their boxes of food and whatnot. But then when COVID hit, we moved to a completely different business model of drive-up, drive-through. And, you know, sometimes we call it a happy accident because we would have never made that decision on our own. Being forced to make it, we were deemed essential from LA County, and going to a drive-up, drive-through gave us the ability to serve 5 times as many people.
That's amazing.
So when you think of that's why we call it a happy accident or providence, or it just forced us to have to completely build a new business model.
Well, now, where you are located, how are you making that a drive up and drive through? That is such a narrow area.
Dan?
Yeah. No. And I guess when we're talking drive up and drive through, people are driving up. We're basically when they drive up, they come up, they register, sign a piece of paper, they take a cone, and they go back to their car. And then they wait in their car, and then we will go and pull the items for them. And if there's any special needs or special items, that's all on the list. So we're basically we're the Instacart, if you will, for food distribution. They're giving us their order. We're going in and we're pulling it, and then we're bringing it out and delivering it to their car. Is how it's working. And that was just because, again, from a grocery perspective, we didn't have the space within the warehouse that we have to allow for a COVID-free environment for them to come in and do that. And so we were working within the parameters we had, given the space limitations we had. And so that was the idea that we came up with, and it's worked out extremely well, and it's been highly effective. You know, we've managed to continue to feed solid numbers each week of people that are coming in as our guests and taking part of that and benefiting.
Well, that's wonderful, because when I came to visit Bradley and go through the place, I was given a complimentary box of food.
See?
And my goodness, it lasted me well over a week. There was so much, especially the fresh vegetables.
No, it's good.
That's what I loved.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the things that we're really generosity is a big factor of ours. In fact, what we're wanting to make sure that everybody walks out of there with at least a good portion of food that will help them to make it through to the next week. And if we're ever short on any particular item, we'll give on some other items. Then is what we'll do. So we're always constantly trying to make sure that there's food for those people to make it through the week. All of our guests are treated with the greatest level of generosity.
And I guess with this COVID pandemic situation, your duties have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because of people being in need, losing jobs and that kind of thing.
Yes.
It must be a horrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate I'm not in that situation.
Yeah, and we're still seeing the cycle right now. We're still seeing the cycle. We're still adding new guests each week, and the neat thing is that there's a trust factor there that they come in now, and then as soon as they come in, they really start to feel dignified. They don't feel like that anything of lesser value because they're having to come and take food from us, and they become part of a family. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we've created over there is a solid family environment where people come in and they're not just our guests, they're just another member of our family, and I would do this for anybody in my family.
That's incredible. Tell me, what types of food are you able to give these families?
We have 4 main areas. One is produce, one is dried goods and breads, one is deli and dairy, and then we have a huge selection of meats that we intake weekly from the major food retailers in town. So you come away with a balanced meal of your proteins, of the correct vitamins and all those. And what's really neat is the volunteers that we have serving on our distribution team. They're aware of putting these bags of food together. So it is a really solid diet for our guests that do come by.
So I just want to make sure that our listeners know that your nonprofit, you're giving food away for those in need, and your distribution is continuous to seniors included, but all different ages. Just because this is the senior hour doesn't mean that you're on because it's limited to seniors. It's everybody can come by. So I think our listeners who are in need right now would like to know, how do they get to the food bank, and what are the hours, and what's the process and procedures they have to follow?
You get the address.
Okay. Well, we're located right on Center Point Parkway by the Carl Boyer Walmart. Also the what is on that, Bowman School?
Yeah,
is on
Bowman
that,
High School.
The Hart District headquarters. It's on that back road, and the address is 21176 Center Point Parkway, Unit 300. There's a huge American flag flying on our building back there. Our hours, we actually distribute food is Mondays 5 to 7 p.m., Wednesdays 5 to 7 p.m., and Saturdays 9 to 11 a.m. And then we have an exclusive distribution of groceries for seniors, and that is on Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5 p.m. And the one thing I'd encourage the seniors to do, we have a big, we're serving now 30 seniors a week, so that's 120 a month, and it's really exciting that they use Dial-A-Ride, a big group of them. And they show up, they ride together, they schedule their time so they can ride the Dial-A-Ride together. And we provide chairs for them to sit under a tree in the shade, and they wait for their groceries with the cone at their feet. And so then when we bring it out, we check them out, and when the Dial-A-Ride comes back to pick them up, we help load it up into the vehicle.
Wow,
So,
that's incredible. That must be a sight to see.
yes, and it's we're becoming like Ohana, as they say. It's family.
It is.
We
Right.
get to know them first name basis, and it's really wonderful. One thing I'll also throw out, we just found out that we were the charity of choice for both Vaughn's and Albertsons.
Oh
And
my.
for the Thanksgiving holiday. So we're going to be able to provide seniors a fully cooked turkey meal and a box of all the fixings to go with it that will last you much longer than a week, right?
Yeah.
If you're a single, you can
my.
make sandwiches out of it, whatnot. But they're really good quality turkeys, and they're pre-cooked, and we'll be serving them frozen. And then it comes with a box of the whole fixins with canned beans, with mashed potatoes, with
Cranberry sauce.
cranberry.
Oh, you got to
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
cranberry
Yeah.
sauce. Oh,
So
yes.
that will be starting up, being that we're in the month of Thanksgiving now. That will be starting up in about 10 days that we'll start getting these in. So
That's incredible.
we're excited about that.
Oh,
We feel
yes.
very fortunate.
Yeah, we're
And
blessed.
what is nice about the grocery stores doing that, they always have fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
They really do. So, in fact, when I got my complimentary box, they were fresh vegetables. You know, there was nothing brownish on any of it.
No.
It's all fresh.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so nice that these markets have a place to give the food, the groceries and everything,
Yeah, no.
so that, you know, they aren't left over there and thrown out.
Correct.
They're given to an organization that can help people who need it.
Yes, and one other thing that is important to us, not really as a brand because we are a charity, but it's kind of our promise to our guest, is we serve fresh milk and fresh eggs that you'll have, the dates on them are 2 weeks beyond you receiving them, just to ensure that we're actually being a service to you and not a hindrance of, say, milk that you have for one day and then
And then
it
it's
meets
out.
the
Then it's
date.
gone.
And that's called a compound fracture. That's how we see that. For Dr. Dorio there.
Yeah. And on top of all that, with the produce, like you were talking about, we do have a zero waste policy too. So if you have a dedicated team of volunteers that are sorting through that to make sure you get the best of the best that we get, and then whatever isn't of good quality and that we don't want to give to our guests, then it gets taken off to other animal farms and places like that. So the food is being redistributed.
It's not being
It's not being wasted.
Yeah, and so in fact, weekly we send a truckload of, we call it exhausted produce,
Yep.
over to Hart Park. And we have a wonderful relationship with them, and that feeds their animals over there.
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And Billy, the chicken farmer, she has a chicken ranch up Sierra Highway. She's another one on another day. And Manny, the rancher, he's the third one that picks up. So 4 days a week,
good for
we're
you
getting
guys.
exhausted produce taken out and used for animals, which is very
That's your
important.
supply chain.
Yes, yes.
Yes. That's incredible. We need to take a break, and we'll be back in a few moments to keep on talking.
Okay.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
There are many memorable restaurants in Santa Clarita, but 3 words stand out from the crowd. Mom can cook.
Mamá puede cocinar.
Mom can cook the best Thai food on this side of the planet.
Mama fait la cuisine.
No matter what language you use, Mom Can Cook says it all. Thai food at its finest, all your favorite dishes, and Mom's very own original specialties. Experience it on Soledad by the Canyon Country Post Office.
Mama 요리가 좋으세요?
Mom Can Cook.
You just had an accident. Now what?
I'm Caesar from Body Shop 661.
After you get into a car accident and call your insurance company, chances are they're going to send you to a cut-rate auto body just to save themselves some money.
So, what do I do?
Call me at Body Shop 661. Your car will get taken care of as if it were my own. No second-rate parts, and the job isn't finished until it's done right. Body Shop 661 handles all types of vehicles, foreign and domestic. Plus, I work with all insurance companies.
Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. On Ruther, just past Home Depot. Call Body Shop 661 at 251-2252.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. I want to stress to you how important it is to get proper advice on what to do in case of emergencies. Always know where your shutoff valves are to be able to isolate it and have the problem taken care of on regular hours and avoid expensive plumbing bill.
We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com, located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Bradley Gross and Dan Ziegler of Santa Clarita Grocery. And my goodness, the stories you're telling and the good that you're doing for our community, especially those people who are in need, and especially since we've had to go through this COVID mess.
Yes.
And it
yes.
is. It's a mess.
Yes, yes. You know, there's one thing that I wanted to give a shout out to the youth of Santa Clarita. We have a large group of young volunteers. And, you know, you kind of don't tend to hear a lot of good news about young people today.
No, that's very true,
but
unfortunately.
The way the organization works, we welcome the youth and we have them be the runners that actually take the groceries out to people's cars. But there was this one family that comes and volunteers, and they have 3 boys, and the parents wanted their boys to be exposed to volunteering. The youngest was 12, I think it's 12, 14, and 16, something like that. And the youngest boy, Nathan, came up to me after serving and said, "Is there anything you need beyond just me volunteering?" And I go, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, like refrigerators or something." And I said, "Actually, we do need a new refrigerator." And he said, "Could I do a fundraise, me and my brothers?" And I said, "Absolutely." So these 3 young men created a website, did a GoFundMe, and KHTS is doing an article on them that's going to come out in the next week. But these 3 young men raised $6,000.
What?
And,
I know.
And we have 2 brand new 3-door refrigerators in our facility.
Oh my goodness.
And then that momentum captured the hearts of another volunteer, one of our lead volunteers and his friends, and then they did a fundraise to get a new 3-door freezer for us. But these young people, it's just absolutely amazing. So we have a saying at Santa Clarita Grocery: first time you volunteer, you're a volunteer in training. Second time you volunteer, you're a veteran training a volunteer in training. So today, Dan being on the supply and on the operations side, he has young high school kids training other high school kids 3 times a week to be our runners. So There's a really neat energy about this because the kids, in fact, they were on a trip to Mexico, and she said to her mom, "Mom, is it bad that we're in Cabo, but that I'm missing being at Santa Clarita Grocery today?" So it's in their hearts, and so we have some of the best young people, the brightest. They're committed, they're loyal, and their work ethic is impeccable. So anyway, we'll be having a spotlight on at least 3 of these in the next coming week. So make sure to look for it on KHTS.
Oh, that is
But
wonderful.
I do want to mention, though, Bradley and Dan, that you mentioned the kids and volunteering, but, I look at you two and the rest of your group as doing the same thing for our community as the volunteers are doing. You are angels. You are saints, for what you do for this community. 2-year anniversary. Thank you for the candles. I will tell you, it's a wonderful thing that you have done for the people in a time where it needs to be done. And I think in the future they will also be doing, once this pandemic is over and the need, I hope, subsides. We will also be looking at you and your group as contributing so much to this valley and for what we do and what we stand for. Thank you so much to both of you. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, 2 years.
Yes, today.
Wonderful.
If they want to get anybody wants to get a hold of you, what is your phone number?
It is area code 661-425-7575. Again, that's 661-425-7575.
And the address again?
And Bradley?
The address again?
26175 Center Point Parkway. It's spelled the British way. Century, Pointe Parkway, Unit 300. And we're right in the same parking lot as Oasis Furniture. They have a big sign out front.
Yes. Wow.
Bradley, Dan, thank you for being on the show today. As I mentioned, it's a great thing that you do for Santa Clarita Groceries. Appreciate it. Once again, 661-425-7575. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on your show. We really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so glad you were here.
We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers In-Home Care, Santa Clarita Hearing Center, and Traditions Healthcare. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.